Hello, I am Darius Plikynas, professor from Vilnius University, and I'm presenting today comparative mapping of a propaganda warfare ecosystem in the frontline Baltic states, propaganda techniques, social polarization, and echo chambers. We are grateful for financial support for Lithuanian government priority research program, and also Latvian Council of Science and Estonian Research Council. There are 4 sections to present: introduction, propaganda service in the 3 Baltic countries, social impact, discussion, and conclusions. So let's start from introduction. Notice this research is about comparative study, employing empirical approaches for propaganda environment research, looking for determinants of propaganda, social impact of it in the Baltic states, namely Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia, which actually for a long time are salient targets of Russian information warfare due to close geographic proximity to Russia. So we mainly are focused on 3 major issues like social context of propaganda environment, recognition of propaganda techniques, and susceptibility to disinformation narratives. So these are major topics, and actually following these topics, we did some prior investigation regarding the hybrid warfare in the Baltics, and we were looking for actual narratives and working propaganda techniques in order to find out the most recent actualities in this field. And here you see on the left side the map of Baltic countries, and on the right side we have Russia and Belarus, and we have different propaganda operations targeting our region, like engineered irregular immigration across borders, and then sabotage of critical undersea communication cables, cross-border reconnaissance drone incursions, and border breaching, jet fighter raids, and cyber attacks against public authorities, media outlets, and so on, and active recruitment of Baltic citizens for intelligence, then corruption and corruption of local businesses, operations by agents of influence, election period interference, Kremlin-backed online social networks, then economic interference and coercive leverage, and information blackmail premised on alleged violations of the rights of Russian minorities and dissemination of narratives in global online social networks and media that erode the trust in Baltic states. And these are coordinated or orchestrated actions. So in the second section, present very shortly propaganda survey in the 3 Baltic countries, the scope and structure. So we prepared questionnaires for all 3 countries, for the citizens of the countries, and we got like 1,218 answers from respondents in these countries, and that's why we made a reasonable comparative analysis out of this data. And here's a demographic picture. Actually, those countries are quite similar in most cases, but in some cases, like income or let's say mother tongue distributions are quite different, and it makes a difference in terms of information warfare tactics which Kremlin uses. And here's the structure of our research. You see questions, a set of questions which were related and cross-tab cross-tabbed to demographic stuff like age demographics on social network platforms, education, tongue occupational status. And the third part, social impact. So regarding the social impact, you can see that the average time spent on social networks is quite similar across age groups. Then Russian propaganda narrative susceptibility, also in some cases, Latvia, for instance, among young population, we see quite high susceptibility to propaganda, and in all the age groups also we see in all three countries high propaganda susceptibility. And then we also see online social network usage and trust in Baltic countries. So we noticed that propaganda narratives and techniques are mostly used via Russian-backed channels like Telegram, of Kontakte, Odnoklassniki, and so on. And also we made some new metrics for measurement of impact of propaganda, like a propaganda resistance score and then a Z-score. We use it for estimation of this impact. And for instance, here we see propaganda resistance analysis across Baltic states in terms of educational levels. And very briefly, I can say that yes, we notice dependence, significant dependence. The higher education helps more critical way to evaluate propaganda and helps to increase propaganda resistance. Also, we identified propaganda techniques by country, the top 10 techniques, and we showed those techniques, and we analyzed which are working, and there are some differences and some similarities across countries. And here's a Z-score we use to make a relative comparison between countries. Okay. And here we see a heat map, how occupational activities are related with abilities to recognize propaganda techniques. And we also found some interesting stuff down here. I have no time to discuss in detail. So now discussion and conclusions, very briefly. So methodologically, the study advances in three areas. As I said, first of all, it operationalizes a wide set of informational environment behaviors and attitudes. And we found some habits, Baltic countries, some reliance on social networks and news, and some tendencies for posting for widening intensity. We made comparative analysis. And also we found some echo chamber tendencies, and we studied it. Then secondly, we also looked at how specific propaganda techniques are recognized and how disinformation narratives gain traction. And also as a third point, we analyzed structural cross-country differences via multivariate tests, correlation heat maps, and so on. We also, as I mentioned, developed some metrics for measurement, like propaganda resistance score, Z-score. And to summarize, the study contribution is a comparative cross-tag link between propaganda narrative technique taxonomy and plenty of micro-level indicators to inform demography-dependent resilience policy. Very short presentation. Thanks for attention.